Hi there, we're all still stuck in, but I've got a nice activity for you again. Again, something which we don't need any particularly fancy art materials, so fairly basic art materials will do. Here we go. So let me just get that organised. That's just... So I'm going to make a painted paper collage. I thought it looked really cheerful, and it's quite simple to do, again with only basic paints and paper needed, or a bit of glue as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we did that. I did that. First of all, we're going to paint some blobs of colour. Now, this works, or this looks good, because of the very limited range of colours I've got. I've got mostly greeny blues, so sort of turquoises with little accents, so only very small amounts of reds. I'm just going to show you the colour wheel and just talk about the colour wheel a tiny bit. So there's no great mystery to making colours look good. The colour wheel is a wheel divided into 6 segments, and you put the primary colours on the 3 sort of separately like that, and then in between each of the primary colours you mix what those 2 would make if they made together. So red and blue make purple, red and yellow make orange, blue and yellow make green. And then what artists do is they often use 2 close colours to make to mix, so you'll get all the turquoises between the blues and greens, say, and then to make that look really super bright they'll use something opposite, so maybe the red or the orange. It's going to contrast and it's going to look really bright. If you want to make your colours look really bright and garish, you will use lots of 2 separate sorts of colours, but in this I'm just wanting it to be quite subtle. So only got tiny bits of the opposite colours, just little accents. Okay, right, so making some blues and greens, that's for later. Can just start mixing, whoops. Lots and lots of strong paint in this. Right, so I'm making blobs. Most of my blobs are going to be quite plain, but then I'm going to put a little bit of texture and pattern on some of them. So I want a range of greeny blues. So I'm going to mix some blue with some green. Blue and green there. Oh yeah, that's good. Nice turquoisey blue. A bit more of that one. Now I want some really nice strong colours, so some of these I might wait until they're dry and then put a second coat. So to make a slightly textured one, for example, I might use some light greens like that. And then, you see that one? Then maybe add tiny little blobs. So you have a darker blue, all within our kind of range of greeny blues. Now also to get a kind of lovely range of these lighter muted colours, I'm going to mix some greeny blues with a bit of paper to mix it on. So here's one I cut out earlier. So I get my greeny blue there, and then I'm going to mix that with a load of white. Now I want some quite strong white, so I'm going to go round and round and round to get some. So now I'm getting a nice muted colour. I'll add a bit of darker blue with that to give it a bit more turquoise. Well, yes, that's a nice different colour, so you're getting a more muted turquoise there. That's really nice, a bit more of that white. Okay, so you can see I'm building up a range of my blues, reds. I've got a whole lot of reds here. Now, I do find I need to put 2 colours on with these. You see that comes out a little bit wishy-washy. Let's try a different one actually. Yeah, that's brighter, look at that, lovely. But you could see with these, actually I've used a few coats because I want a really solid dark red there. Okay, so that's doing the blobs. Okay, now how do I turn the blobs into my collage? What I did was I did a very basic black stem up the middle to start with to give me a little bit of structure. So that's going to give me spaces to put my small collage flowers. There we go, that will do. Now, this is kind of fun. You need to start arranging your colours. So I'm thinking which colours are going to look good together. So I've got a whole range of greeny blues, some a bit textured, some less so. Okay, and I'll have tiny, oh yeah, that looks great with that, doesn't it? I've also done a little bit of black and white, which I think looks good. Right, and then another one. I could have a red base to it with some, oh yeah, that's starting to look good. Okay, so you take your selection. So I've got this selection here. And then I'm going to find the one I'm going to call the base. So maybe I use this blue here as my base. And then I'm going to just start cutting out little petally type shapes. Like that. Which I could then play around with. Look at that lovely light blue. Okay, and then I can just start to play around. There's a bit of white on the edge there, I don't want that. So cut them beautifully, so you get nice curves. There's a little bit of black and white, it's going to look cool. Oh yeah, that looks great already. What else am I going to have in there? This textured one. No, I'm going to just put a little slice of my red. This vivid, vivid red. I'm going to make that maybe the centre. Okay, so that's looking fab. Another bit maybe of that one there to balance out. Okay, maybe just pop that there. You can come off your base. So what I'm thinking about is each one is going to look like a beautiful little abstract painting in its own right. And then I'm going to build each little, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 small abstract collages, and altogether they're going to create this whole piece. So then when you come to stick them on, I've got some glue in there. I just use my fingers. Becomes all a bit gluey, but you know, doesn't matter. You can wash your hands afterwards. So I'm going to put that down there. And it's hard to remember really how you first had it, but it doesn't matter. You can rearrange as you go. So a bit of glue. People often say to me something like, oh, I'd love to learn how to do watercolours, or, you know, will you teach me how to do it, how to do various painting styles. But actually all of this is learning how to do something like watercolours, because this is learning how to arrange colours, how to arrange patterns, and that is all part of the same skill. Right, where did that little bit, oh yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? And maybe a little bit down there. It's composing as well. All of these you are learning. When I put all my little collages like that, I then added a little bit to my black, just to give it a little bit more fullness. So you're going to end up with something like that. Okay, enjoy yourself.